look like? Okay. Oops. Hey, Kate, look who it is. Julie. Nanar. Jesse's really good at this.
What do you mean?
I make her sit here whenever we're at the nail place. I'm like, Jesse, I need you to shout everyone out. Hi, Kate. Thank you for the hearts. See, look, we're already at 50.
Beautiful.
Just for the looks.
I am getting so disgusted with these insurance companies. I literally don't know what I'm going to do.
Are there any that you don't hate?
No. No, there's none that I don't hate. And I'm also having problems with my computer, so that's double suck today.
And you know when our elders have technology problems, it's a
That would be
world
me.
problem.
That would be me. What do we want to talk to people about today?
I know somebody. Hi, Vincent. Hi, Kelly. Thank you, Kate, for liking. I'm a natural.
So we've gotten some really good comments about the trifecta of hell from
People really like your one-liners.
yeah. So I don't know. I just kind of came up with it. Should we close that door so that we can all have a fireside chat? Maybe we should do that. We get a fireplace in here. It's cold as dirt.
I have Snoop Dogg smokeless.
Fireplace. We're not doing that.
We're
not doing
great
that.
s'mores.
I am just having a heck of a time with these insurance companies, and part of it is New Year 2024, but a whole lot of it is just like, you know, you get down when it takes so much work to get people, get these patients over, you know, over the mark and get them the medicines that they need, because it can really feel overwhelming. I'm feeling overwhelmed today, but that's okay.
Imagine how the patients feel, though, right?
I mean, it's absurd that the patients have to go through this. And I spent a ton of time getting one of our patients on she had UHC dual, so that's Medicare, Medicaid, Advantage, not Advantage, Advantage, no way. Anyway, she had been stable on one medicine when she had Ambetter, which is an Obamacare plan. Then she got bamboozled into United Healthcare, Medicare, Medicaid, dual advantage, which is probably the worst of the worst. And so I told her, I said, you can't continue on this medicine if you're gonna stay with United Healthcare. And so she
United
said,
Health Cartel.
Yes, the cartel. And so then she went back on Ambetter. We spent a ton of time getting her reauthorized, got everything going, and then her mother got sick. Her mother lives in Alabama, and she was supposed to get her treatment on the 5th, in 2 days, after all of this work, and she's got to be in Alabama with her mother. So now I'm trying to transfer all the records to another office in Alabama, and she can't even find a rheumatologist. She has to use an emergency medicine physician. And for starters, I just don't think that an emergency room physician is going to even remotely write the orders for what she needs to be on, because they don't know anything about these medicines and they don't know how to manage these really chronic patients. I mean, they're there for, you know, the dust ups with the car accidents and the heart attacks and all those real emergency things, not chronic conditions.
What are we offering to help patients that might not be able to get into a rheumatologist?
Well, I mean, we can certainly do telehealth, but it's not long term a good thing for patients that are on stable therapies to continue if they're out of state with us, right? Because they need eyes on them, and particularly with these chronic conditions, they really need to establish care in their home state. And if their home state is temporarily Alabama, then like you've got to really make that choice. We are going to do a telehealth with her on Friday with one of our nurse practitioners. and just give her like 30 days of treatment. But you know, these are complex biologics, and we need to have regular monitoring of labs so that we're always making sure that we do no harm.
Why do we have labs every 3 months?
Because patients sometimes, you know, their liver enzymes might be affected, or other markers, to make sure that you know, the benefits of the medicine outweigh any sort of negative side effects. Like, it's really complex in rheumatology, because what our labs look like to a non-rheumatologist, they might be like, oh my god, their sugars are too high. But when you take the complete picture of chronic patients into account, those labs might not be there. We would consider certain labs within normal range that are super high. Like, I take the physician after hours phone calls, and I had our lab path group call us 2 days ago with a critical lab alert, you know, at 6 a.m. And I'm like, this is not a critical lab alert, okay? It might be you, but it's not to our patients, because if I look back at the history of this patient, she's got high sugars for the past 10 years. So this is just her reacting to all of the medicines. So anyway, I just am feeling like we've got an awful lot of work to do, and a big, huge rock to push up a hill with these insurance company days. But not to worry, I'm in it to win it. We're gonna get it done.
And direct pay, you think this is, I keep seeing things online, Health Rosette is all about it. They have training, they have subscriptions. I have an appointment with Nishi on Friday.
Okay.
What is all of this?
So direct pay is a really, it's a good thing, because then we don't have to get bogged down in these insurance pay-to-play lists with the formularies, and you know, with I mean, understand. Let's just talk about formularies for a second.
Yeah, let's
okay. So formularies are basically a list where the pharma company pays the PBM to get in a position. So if you have, let's just throw it out there, if you have rheumatoid arthritis, then you have a certain insurance company, and that insurance company also owns their own PBM, which the big ones do. So you've got United Healthcare owns Optum Rx, okay? So they're vertically aligned.
What's a PBM?
Pharmacy Benefit Manager, okay? So they're middlemen. I can't stand any of them, because they don't have to perform. And when I say they don't have to perform, that means they don't do the simplest damn things, like they can't answer the phone. They're all about putting people on hold, all about physicians being on hold, pharmacists trying to do the work, being on hold, the patients being on hold. It's just such a jam job. But not to get off in the weeds. So you've got United Healthcare, which owns Optum Rx, and Optum Rx is the PBM. So it's just like this little vertical aligned thing here. So, and then you've got Aetna, and Aetna has CVS Specialty, and then you have Cigna, who has Express Scripts, and Express Scripts is headquartered in my own backyard here. So it's all bad all the time.
Best advice to avoid delays when having to resubmit prior auths on January 1st.
I mean, do as much as you can electronically through portals and stuff, and not on the phone, because you'll be on the phone with India, or and have chickens balking in the background with these agents, and they literally don't know what they're doing, and it's not okay. It's not okay to delay patients. So my best advice to other offices is to use the online portals. But in the end, you know, there's 1, 2, 3 hour hold times to get these patients verified in the new year. Now, there are some companies, some commercial insurance, like for example, in our office, I have 25 people that work here, and we have Anthem. They're not great, they're not horrible, but our benefits in my office, they reset on November 1st. So we're not kind of stuck in that year-end 2023, 2024 mess. So that's when our benefits reset. So some companies, and I know some employers that have commercial insurance in St. Louis here, they might have their benefits reset in April or in June. So it's not everybody, but it's the lion's share. It's all the Medicare, traditional Medicare, certainly all the Medicare Disadvantage companies. Now I'm getting hot. I had a cup of coffee and a day-old Krispy Kreme donut that I heated up in the microwave. So I was trying to eat my feelings.
Who do you think the best specialty pharmacy, if you have a choice? Mark Cuban's Cost Plus RX?
So I like what Cuban's doing, but Cuban doesn't do specialty drugs. So if Cuban's model is to have a 15% upcharge, but if you had that, well, he doesn't have access to the specialty drugs, but if he had that, you can't have 15% of a $5,000 drug. Like, this would be unsustainable. However, guess who gets to do that? That would be the big three PBMs. They get to do whatever the hell they want.
And those three are?
OptumRx, Express Scripts, and CVS Specialty. And you know what? There's nothing special about a specialty pharmacy. Any of our independent pharmacists could fill these medicines. They're special, and everyone thinks they're specialty drugs because of the cost of the drugs, okay? That's the only reason they're called specialty drugs. So,
what's ERISA?
ERISA is a self-funded employer health plan. And so with the situation with that is you've got your fully funded insurance and you've got your self-funded. So I'm a small employer. I only have 25 employees. So I have a fully funded Anthem plan. Again, it's not great, it's not horrible, but still, all including myself and all my employees, they all cash pay all their maintenance medicines unless it's like a branded drug, like an Adderall or a Vyvanse. They would have to go through the insurance with that. But I'm getting off in all these ditches again. I'm sorry, I would blame this one right here. But the ERISA plans are self-funded employers. So you're gonna see more employers that have like over 100 employees. And what they do is they pool all the money for the employees. So that's based on your age. I'm 58, my premium is like $1,400 a month. So my employer, happens to be me, pays $700 of my premium, and then I pay $700 a month out of my premium, out of my paycheck. So obviously we break that up, but it's so unaffordable. But for that premium, what do I get from that? Not much, unless I get hit by a bus. I don't really want to get hit by a bus, but if I do, Anthem's going to show up and pay, we think.
And you still have to pay your $1,400 deductible.
$1,400? I mean, I think it's like $2,000.
Holy.
Or I was actually in the emergency room in December, and I got my, of course, $400 copay for that. And then now all the bills are trickling in from, you know, the lab and from the imaging. It's like nothing is ever covered. You'd think $400 copay to go to the emergency room. It's not just $400. It's probably going to be more like $1,000.
Well, and how many tests did they run on you that you'd probably already had drawn?
Well, I mean, again, I was in a weird spot because I had really high blood pressure, which I normally don't. So it was just a weird thing. So I don't mind paying my share when I need to use healthcare, but by God, can't they do anything for us? We are paying the premiums and they're out there denying the care. Like, make this make sense to me.
Have you heard of Be a Hero? One of our people work there. I'm Googling it now.
No, I don't know about Be a Hero.
So with the ERISA plans, what's a fiduciary?
Okay, so you've got your ERISA plans. The ERISA plans that means that there's a, do you see things? Something's going on with the dog outside. The ERISA plans are just, it's a fiduciary, there's a fiduciary responsibility. So that means there's, you know, one or two people, and typically it's the CFO of the company, that they have a duty to use the plan resources, the premiums that I pay, that you pay, and that the company pays in the most economical way, and with regard for the patient and the health plan. So when you have these big ones, like we're dealing with PepsiCo right now, we talked about this yesterday. When you have these big plans, and I don't know if the CFO is too busy or needs more education about health plans, but when they have gotten these old boy networks of the insurance broker and the CFO, and then they are working on this together, the insurance broker sometimes are getting paid so much money, and they've been friends for such a long time with the CFO that they're like, forget it, we're not changing anything. But that's not going to be good enough anymore, because they have a fiduciary responsibility to the people, to the employees, to do right. So I'm excited about the possibility of employees actually suing their self-funded employers, CFO, for not doing right by them. I think that I would love to find some, young lawyers that want to get involved, and let's make some change happen, because that seems to be the only time you can get change.
So, the one I asked you about, it's actually a political organization, and they help patients tell their stories about problems with health insurance. They're specifically working on Medicare Advantage plans right now.
Okay.
There's a documentary on Hulu called Not Going Quietly About Us, 2 Emmy nominations. Anyways,
Great.
I love your videos. Thanks for taking the insurance corpse to task.
Thanks. We're gonna just be here stamping out disease, saving lives. I have got a list of 3 pages of patients that I need to deal with today. So I probably should just get to work on that.
Do your computers work?
My computer doesn't work, but everyone else's does. But the IT guy is on my computer right now.
So I think people are a little bit confused with, so if they call their HR and their HR gives them a third party to call and it's in India, how do they get back to America?
So if your employer is a self-funded employer, you talk to your HR person, and this is what needs to happen. You need to ask your HR person, who is our contact for the Arthritis Center at Anthem? Okay, who is that person? They've got an email address. And this is the one thing that I had to it's like McGruff, taking a bite out of crime, trying to figure out who we need to get in front of. It took me 22 days to get in front of the right person at United Healthcare for the PepsiCo plan. And when I finally got in front of her, of course she was on PTO. So then that patient was delayed 22 days, right? But once I finally got her on the phone and explained the situation, she literally said, I don't know why United Healthcare and PepsiCo do this, because it's more expensive. Well, and I understand that you know that, but finding that person, that's the person that the patient and the doctor's office doing the work need to get in front of. So I was actually thinking about this, because how would we access that? Because United Healthcare certainly doesn't want doctors' offices to go around them and find out who is the plan thing, but that's what needs to happen. It's just that's what has to happen. And the quickest way to get there is to post something on Twitter or X, or on TikTok or on social media, because public shaming is the only thing that I've found that moves the needle. I can follow all of the processes, all of the appeals, the peer-to-peers, the independent reviewer nonsense, and until you get in front of the right person for your plan within the insurance company or the PBM, you're not getting shit, okay? It's just not happening.
Do you think these CFOs know they have a fiduciary responsibility, or do you think it's going to come out of nowhere?
I don't think that they know that in 2021 the Appropriations Act has now mandated this, but I think they're gonna get educated right quick here.
Will it be the bigger companies first?
Always is. I mean, my colleague in Wisconsin had a big case and got a case overturned a year ago that was a UPS employee, okay? UPS, Brown, gotta love Brown. They, multi-billion-dollar international company, and when we started really kind of working the thing and seeing who was who, turns out that someone from the PBM sits on the board of UPS. So there's this incestuous relationship. So why would UPS, Carol Tome, she's the CEO, why would she choose to mandate drugs to a PBM? Well, it's probably some old school relationship from God knows when, and then you have a PBM sitting on your board of directors at UPS. That's just called writing a check and taking care of each other. It doesn't, occur to any of these people in leadership that it harms the patients and the employees, but that's the kind of thing that needs to be brought out in public. And so my colleague in Wisconsin got this case overridden, and she has the receipts. She's posted them, redacted them and posted them, and she actually got a letter like I did for PepsiCo from CSRO to Carol Tome at UPS, and UPS was being charged 4 times more than my colleague in Wisconsin was charging for the same drug, Remicade.
How do they get away with that?
4 times. How do they get away with it? Because everyone's so busy, operating in their little bubble, and they think someone else has handled it. But the person who's handled it, the insurance broker, is a conflicted broker if that's the case. And you've got these layers and layers of relationships that the people making the decision have no idea and not a care in the world how it plays out on the ground. So I care about how it plays out on the ground. I just do it one patient at a time. It's the only thing I know how to do because every case is different, every patient is different, and I'm just gonna continue to fight for access to care for these patients.
There's no oversight. That's why you're on fire right now, so don't give up. Keep going.
All right, well, I don't know. I mean, you know what? We just, it's...
What's a deductible?
Okay, so the deductible is if you haven't paid enough in premiums already, now you get to pay, it's like you're paying another, our deductible is like $3,000, but a lot of people's deductible is like $7,000. Like if I had, you know, an extra $3,000 laying around, I really don't want to have to spend it on my health care, considering I already pay premiums. Like this is such nonsense, like to pay so much money, and again, unless you get hit by a bus, you know, your insurance isn't gonna kick in. So deductible is your portion, one of many of your portions. Then you've got your copay, which is also your portion, right? Your portion. And then sometimes you even have co-insurance. Like what on earth?
And
Like
then
is there
out-of-pocket.
anything else that we can pay? Is there anything else we can do for these big behemoth insurance companies who are doing none of the work and making all of the money? Like this is insanity. You know, everybody's a patient. Everybody deserves access to health care, and you kind of don't get it. You kind of don't get access to health care unless you got a whole pile of money that you can walk in and say, yeah, all right, I want this service. You know, my dad is 86 years old. Today's his birthday. And he got bamboozled. He and my mother got bamboozled into this Medicare Advantage from United Healthcare. And literally, I couldn't stop it. And as much as I know about insurance, my parents live a mile from me. Like they are still in their own home, and they don't have extra money. And they literally are so excited to have this 10-cent United Healthcare shoehorn. Okay, I think it's really a spatula, but my parents use it as a shoehorn. But they just think their United Healthcare is the greatest thing ever. Well, yesterday, my sister took my dad to the GI doctor, and what do you know? He's got a $3,000 deductible. So all of a sudden, that 10 cents United Healthcare shoehorn is not very valuable. So he's going to end up paying $3,000 out of pocket because he's got a GI issue. Not good.
Not good, not good. Julie, actually, don't you paid for imaging out of pocket, didn't you?
I do. I've had some an MRI. I was having some like weird thing going on with vertigo a couple months ago, and I didn't want to wait the 21 days to get a prior authorization for an MRI of my head. So I just said, screw it. I'm just going to pay out of pocket, and I had to pay $400. But at least I got the results right away, and I have access to healthcare because I work in a physician's office, so I could get an order written, and I went actually to see a neurologist, and you know, it worked out fine. I went on some migraine medicine, but even imaging, it's, again, unless you get hit by a bus, your insurance, or you're a chronic patient, like a rheumatology patient, your insurance isn't really going to do anything for you, other than give you like a giant box of aggravation.
Well, did you know 1 in every 4 U.S. families are in debt because of healthcare?
Of course they are, because they have insurance, but they are so woefully underinsured because of the out-of-pocket, the copay, the co-insurance, like all of this nonsense. And then some of these plans have these accumulator policies that if you get a manufacturer copay coupon, that doesn't count towards your deductible. Like these are just all levers from the insurance industry and the PBMs, literally to pad their own profits at the expense of patients, employers, well, and taxpayers. So all of us.
Right. Because how many would you say with like Medicaid patients? How hard is it to get their drugs covered if it's through the government? Is it just as easy as Medicare?
No. Medicaid is a whole nother animal. I mean, you know,
42% of Maine residents incur medical debt.
yeah, well, I mean, I don't know anyone that doesn't have medical debt. Even my own daughter, she has medical debt because it's so outrageous. She ended up in the emergency room 2 years ago in a little town in Colorado, Holyoke, Colorado, at Melissa Memorial Hospital. They gave her IV fluids, and now they've got her in collections over $7,000. $7,000 for IV fluids. Like, are you kidding me? Like, there are no options. If you go to the emergency room, and you're not like, I don't know, hit by a bus so you can actually walk and talk, I think it's better to say, I don't have insurance. Because then you can at least negotiate the bill down after the fact. The minute you present an insurance card, it's the most expensive coupon ever. So
one of my son's meds, the formulary was switched to one that's been on back order for 9 months. And then someone said, what if I just don't pay them with their eyes closed?
don't pay who?
The hospitals.
I would be okay with that.
You can actually negotiate it.
Yeah, if you show up in a hospital and tell them you are self-pay, you have a good chance of negotiating the bill. The minute you present an insurance card, even to an urgent care, it's going to instantly increase your bill. I had a colleague in Wisconsin that, she's a NERISA attorney, and she ended up in an urgent care, and she said she needed an x-ray of her foot. And they're like, oh, do you have insurance? And she's like, yeah. And she's like, asked how much it's going to be. And they're like, well, with your insurance, it's going to be like $600 to $700. And she goes, I'm going to walk out the door, and I'm going to come back in, and I'm going to tell you I'm self-pay, and then we're going to see how much it is. And it was like $150. So insurance is in a big, expensive coupon that really doesn't do much. I think that you should try to do everything outside of insurance, then you can negotiate a reasonable fee. Now, of course, that's not going to work if you're on some of these complex biologics. Here, you need to have insurance because you've got to get these branded drugs. Although even when we have biosimilars, which are kind of generics, in the rheumatology space, they're still expensive.
So they're still expensive. I work for a big healthcare company, STL. If you don't present insurance, we contract out a company who does coverage discovery. We will find and add the insurance.
Oh, okay.
What's that mean?
Well, I mean, you have to sign permission for them to bill your insurance. I don't know what the answer is. The answer is, listen, I will pay for service. What?
So they're saying that even if you do self-pay, they'll find it and then use insurance to pay it?
Well, insurance isn't going to pay it though. They're going to put it all to your deductible. And here's the thing, like, instead of having one of my family members needed antibiotics over the weekend, and with our insurance, the antibiotic, which is doxycycline, which is super cheap, was $26 using Anthem Insurance. And it was $14, which is still too expensive, with no insurance. So I went and picked it up at Walmart and said, I don't want to use my insurance. I want it to be cash price. Like, that may not be that big of a deal to pay 24 versus 14. It's only $10. But nonetheless, $10 in this economy is a whole lot. And you times that by every person, every belly button, every life, somebody's making some giant money off everyone's backs. Everybody's a patient, and it's the PBMs and the insurance companies. So I don't know what the answer is. The answer is direct care. Let's get back to giving doctors, what a fair price is for the work they do. And the pharmacists, the independent pharmacists doing the work, let's give them a fair price too, because these three big PBMs, they're like putting all the independent pharmacists out of business because of their big vertical alignment situations.
It's monopolized.
It is
the right word.
It is indeed.
Budesonide, $463 with insurance, $93 without insurance.
Yep. Insurance sucks, and insurance sucks the life out of you.
All right, we do have 10 watchers. I work for Maine CAHC, Consumers for Affordable Healthcare. We advocate in legislation and helpline. Or I'll send you a direct message, and you guys can send me a direct message. Julie will advocate for you if you have questions about anything, coverage, and if you want anything answered, just send me a message.
Thanks, everybody.